They called him emperor. They called him philosopher. But Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, called himself something else: a student of life. This is not just the story of Rome's last great emperor. This is the story of how a man surrounded by wealth, armies, and absolute power spent his life teaching himself how to let go of everything. Marcus Aurelius was not supposed to be emperor. Born in 121 AD, he was a boy from a noble but modest family. His father died when Marcus was only 3. He was raised by his mother, a woman of great virtue, who taught him humility and simplicity. Even as a child, Marcus was unusual. He preferred philosophy over games, wisdom over luxury. He would sleep on a simple mattress, train his body through discipline, and study under philosophers like Junius Rusticus, who gave him one priceless gift: the writings of Epictetus, the Stoic slave whose words shaped emperors. Fate, or perhaps Rome's endless chaos, chose Marcus. Emperor Hadrian noticed his brilliance and ordered Antoninus Pius to adopt him as his son. In a single stroke, Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher child, was placed in line for the throne of the greatest empire in history. In 161 AD, Marcus Aurelius became emperor, but instead of peace, his reign was a nightmare. Plagues ravaged the empire. Wars erupted on every border. Even his co-emperor and brother, Lucius Verus, fell to illness. Unlike most emperors who lived in marble palaces, Marcus spent much of his reign in freezing military camps along the Danube River, writing in his journal by candlelight. These writings, never meant to be published, became one of the greatest works of human thought, the Meditations. Marcus never wrote for fame. He wrote to survive his own mind. Meditations is not a book. It's a battlefield where Marcus fought against anger at betrayal, despair and endless war, fear of death and diseases, temptation of power. What makes his words immortal is that Marcus Aurelius was not a monk on a mountain. He was emperor of the Roman world. When he said, "Control only what you can control," he was not just talking about emotions. He was talking while commanding hundreds of thousands of soldiers, while watching his children die, while carrying the entire Roman Empire on his shoulders. Marcus Aurelius, the greatest emperor, was deeply human. He lost at least 8 of his 13 children in infancy. His empire constantly betrayed him, senators plotting behind his back. Even his own son, Commodus, would later become the very monster Marcus feared, destroying the legacy of his father. And yet, through all this, Marcus did not surrender to bitterness. He wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly, but none of them can truly harm me." This was not theory, it was a survival strategy. Marcus Aurelius believed that philosophy is not for debate, but for life itself. To him, Stoicism was armor against despair. Accept what you cannot change. Focus only on your own virtue. Life is fleeting. Death could come at any point. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do inside and think. This one line captures the power of Marcus. He lived every moment ready to die, and in that acceptance, he became freer than any emperor who ever lived. By the year 180 AD, Marcus Aurelius had carried Rome through war, plague, and chaos. He had fought enemies at the borders, enemies in the Senate, and enemies within his own heart. In the end, death came not in battle, but quietly, in a military camp in modern-day Vienna. The emperor closed his eyes, leaving his son Commodus to inherit an empire that would begin its slow decline. Historians call Marcus Aurelius the last of the five good emperors. After him, Rome would never again know such wisdom and power. Marcus Aurelius lived 1800 years ago, yet his words still whisper to us that power and health mean nothing if you don't rule yourself, that pain and loss are unavoidable, but suffering is a choice, that every morning we are reborn, and every evening we must be ready to die. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Perhaps this is why Marcus Aurelius still matters today, because in a world that worships fame and fortune, he reminds us that the only true empire is mastery over one's own soul. Marcus Aurelius ruled the world, but his greatest victory was ruling himself. And maybe, just maybe, that is the kind of empire each of us must learn to build.